Hi everyone, and thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Shift Happens, where we're talking to Adam, who has a lifelong experience of mindfulness and meditation. So if you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling burnt out, if you're feeling it's time to connect with yourself and with our community, keep listening. Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you very much for agreeing to come and talk to us. So before we delve into your work, are you happy to tell us a little bit about yourself and what led you, what drew you into mindfulness and meditation?
Sure, yeah. So when I finished school, I went over to Nepal to do what's called a gap year over there. And when I was there, I came across Buddhist meditation. And since then, I've been practicing and training in meditation. So that's where it all began back in 1994.
Wow, that's an experience. It
was an experience.
Yeah, huge. Nepal as well. So how did you come across Buddhist meditation?
It just kind of all fell together when I went over there, because we were given a choice of where we could go in the world, and I was drawn to Nepal because it seemed somewhere a long way away and very different to society here. So then upon arriving in Nepal, I think the day after arriving, we had an orientation in Kathmandu Valley, and we were sitting by Bodhanath Stupa, which is it's the Tibetan refugee area of Kathmandu. And Bodhanath Stupa is where it's quite a holy pilgrimage site for Buddhists, because Kathmandu was on the trail between India and Tibet. So when Buddhism went through India to Tibet, it went through Nepal. So over the centuries, they would often stay in Kathmandu. So this stupa is like a central point. But we just we didn't know anything about it. We just so happened to be sitting there in a rooftop cafe. And over there was the stupa. You may have seen it. It's the one with the eyes. So there's like Buddha's eyes.
Okay.
And it looks like a pagoda going up.
Yeah.
And there's like a big white circle around, and then there's prayer wheels. And the pilgrims circumambulate, they walk around clockwise the stupa, pushing these big prayer wheels. You know those?
Yes.
And it's quite a potent, powerful place. But we didn't sit in that cafe deliberately to see that. We just wanted a cup of coffee and a slice of cake. But it was just, there's this. So that was, and then in that cafe, there was a poster for a meditation course. So I kind of like, it spurred my interest in Buddhism, seeing this atmosphere.
So had you already been meditating? Was it something
that
was, no. So it really did pull on and connect and resonate.
Yeah,
with something.
I had to be there for it because it needed some power. As an 18-year-old, you need something impressive to shift you. I couldn't have gone to like a dusty church hall in Aldridge, and listened to someone who looked a bit like me.
Yeah.
For it to, I needed something exotic.
The real deal.
Yeah, or just and I think as well, even walking around prior to, because I saw this poster, it said 10-day meditation course. But prior to seeing that, I saw the Tibetan monks and the nuns, female version. Sometimes people, I think they're called monks, but then, so you have the female nuns and the monks, the male monks, and they seemed pretty radiant and smiley and happy.
Yeah.
So I think that looks good.
Yeah.
Like genuinely happy.
They absolutely, and they do seem really radiant, don't they?
Yeah, and in a sense, especially even for me, some of the older Tibetan women, maybe in their 50s, 60s, 70s, such faith. And a lot of them, they have no intellectual understanding they can't read, but they're there and they're showing this incredible faith and humility. Mm-hmm. And I'd never seen anything like that before. So you think there's something special going on there, and I want to know what it is.
Yeah. And you wanted to experience that. Yeah. So what did you experience? What is Buddhist meditation?
Well, I went on this 10-day retreat. It was about a month later. So I managed to convince about 4 other people to come with me, because they were wanting to do the usual 18-year-old activities, whitewater rafting, Chitwan National Park, go up to Everest Base Camp. But I said, no, this is what you want to do. Come with me. Come with me on a 10-day meditation retreat. And
well done, you.
Yeah. I managed to convince about 4 of them. So 5 of us went on this retreat. And it was a 10-day retreat, and it was based on the stages of the path to enlightenment, which in Tibetan is known as Lamrim. So it's the sequential step-by-step meditations that lead to enlightenment over 10 days. And so, you go into the first meditation room. It's in the evening. There's probably about 60 people in there. It's all mainly Western travelers, from different parts of the world. And then there was a nun guiding us through the first meditation. So she said, as you know, with the guided meditation, I mean, now here in 2025, everyone knows about meditation. But back then, not that many people. You didn't have apps. You didn't have online. Maybe it was quite a niche thing. So I'd never come across it before. And she said, close your eyes and focus on your breathing. Just something as simple as that. And I did it. And it was like, yes, that's what I need.
Yeah.
I immediately felt something beneficial happening. Mm-hmm. So inside I was thinking, wow, this is reducing my stress. I'm feeling better as the minutes were rolling by. So that first meditation, I was thinking, this is something I need to pursue. Yeah.
I can really resonate with that. I won't go too much into, but just to share something which is really beautiful for me, and actually the beginning of my journey. I was in hospital quite emotionally unwell. Okay. And they did meditation classes, and I had an experience which I won't go into. It was very, very beautiful experience. And every day after that, I took myself back to the meditation room on my own to try and recreate this experience. I never recreated it, but what happened was I started to relax. And I then decided to attend a Buddhist center when I left hospital. I'd made a commitment to myself that I would never, ever be in that place ever again. Okay. And I went to a Buddhist center and started to learn properly how to meditate.
Good for you.
But what happened was I started to meet beautiful people who had faith. And that was what set me on my whole journey. It was very much, as you say, for me, it was, my God, what is it that these people have that I'm not I'm not feeling in my life?
Yeah, so you experienced that. Yeah.
I did. I met beautiful people, and my journey from there on was to find out what it was that made them behave, talk, speak in the way that they did. And
the secret.
There was no turning back. And I've talked about all these different things that started me on my spiritual path, but actually that was the moment. That was it.
Your moment, yeah.
So it is a very beautiful thing, and it's quite close to my heart. So what happened at the end of your 10-week course?
10-day.
10-day. 10 weeks.
Would have been nice to be 10 weeks.
Yeah. But would the other 4 say that?
Exactly. 10 weeks would have been beautiful. Subsequently later, there were 10-week courses. Well, interestingly enough, so there was a 10-day retreat. And as the retreat was going on, I was thinking, it didn't wane, And also at that time I used to smoke. I was a smoker. And I found myself, you weren't allowed to smoke in the monastery, but there was an area that smokers could go to. And I remember in the first few days we used to go there, but as the days were going by, it was like I didn't need to go there because it was almost like the meditation was replacing the smoking. It was, and I found out subsequently a year or so later, I gave up smoking through meditation, breathing meditation, I believe is a similar, it's almost like a health, when you're smoking, you're looking for relaxation and stress relief. And when I discovered breathing meditation, it's like, oh, this is similar to smoking, but it's much better. So that was one of the things that started happening. I found it less, I was grasping less onto things outside of me and being able just to, sit and look at things and just be more self-contained and calmer, which is wonderful, And then towards the end of the retreat, I was like, this is great, but what am I going to do when I go home? So I went to see these monasteries have abbots, like the head of the monastery. So I managed to make an appointment with this abbot to ask him this deep and meaningful question, what am I going to do? And I was expecting this kind of him to hand me like the Holy Grail or something. Here we go, son.
Here's your answer.
Yeah. And he was, the funny thing about the Tibetans in general, they're very down to earth. And this, like back when the hippies went to Kathmandu, because Kathmandu was the end of the hippie trail in the 60s. And a lot of them were a bit shocked by just how down to earth they were. And I said to him, what am I going to do? I want to get home. And he said, be good. And he just looked at me like dead in the eye. Yeah. And I was, at that time I had long hair and I was sitting there, and I was sort of in my mind thinking, but that was it, but that was powerful.
Yes.
Sometimes, because, the root of the spiritual practice is a sense of discipline and, being positive, restraining from negativity, being positive, controlling the mind. So as the years roll on, maybe you've had it from advice from your family or a dear friend, it like ripples through. So I kind of sometimes hear that. So that was a great bit of advice. And then there was a silent retreat as an offering at the end of this 10-day retreat. So there's a 3-day silent retreat, optional if you enjoy the 10-day retreat. And I was planning, I wanted to do this silent retreat, but as a penniless, teenager, I couldn't afford it. I mean, I could barely afford this retreat. So we left the monastery and went back to Kathmandu, and then I changed some money at this money change, which was at the hill of the monastery. And I had sterling. Back in those days, it was traveler's checks. No, it was traveler's checks, yeah. And what did I have? I had dollars, because I'd heard it was better to travel with dollar traveler's checks than sterling. Handed them $100 traveler's check with a UK passport and got back 100 sterling, the equivalent of, in Nepalese rupees.
Exactly what you need.
Yeah. And that was the amount so I ended up, I didn't realize until I walked away. I was like, oh.
Don't you just love it when that happens?
Yeah. So that meant I could do the silent retreat. So I did the silent retreat, and then I mean, that was, how long ago was it now? It's 30 odd years ago. 1994. And then obviously there's a lot that's happened since then, but I'm still at it. I'm still hooked with the meditation practice.
Yeah.
And this is what I say to students and so forth. Once you've experienced the benefits of meditation, they keep coming. Mm-hmm. It's not like they come for a while. If you keep doing it, you keep getting the benefits. It's like a vast, limitless ocean.
Yeah.
So if I stopped experiencing the benefits, I've stopped doing it. But so far, so good. And then also on top of that, showing others how to meditate and then seeing the benefits they experience.
Yes.
It strengthens it even more.
Yeah. So what are the benefits of meditation?
Good question. There's countless benefits, but the main benefit is that it makes you happy. It brings an inner happiness.
Often when I'm meditating with people that are new to it, the first thing they'll say is, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I can't concentrate.
The first thing they say.
Yeah. I can't concentrate. I can't do that. That's not for me. There's a real fear I feel behind it for some people. Yeah. And why do you think that is?
Why is there a fear of meditation? I think one of the things I come across a lot is the word hard. So there's the fear, but I come across it. This is so hard.
Yeah.
This is so hard. Meditation's hard. And I've come across it to the point where I've actually banned the word in my classes. So like when a new person comes along and says, oh, this is hard, you see the other students going, no, don't go there.
Yeah.
Because what happens is it initiates a conversation about how hard it is, and then you're creating blocks, and it's our ego not wanting to be disappeared. It's like we're sort of trying to maintain the stress. It's part of us doesn't want to reduce stress. Part of us wants to maintain the soap opera.
Yeah.
Meditation, and I'm not saying this arrogantly, it's easy. Like anything is easy if you break it down. If you break it down, like learning languages, if you break them down into, bite size and don't expect too much. Meditation, because it's a process. And I think sometimes people come along to meditation and they want, of course, we want to experience peace and calm. So you're sitting there and you're being guided through meditation, and a few minutes later, you're not peaceful and calm. And then you think, this is hard. Or from the point of view of the fear of a quiet mind.
Yeah. Because
a quiet mind is here. It's not a long way away. And I think there's part of us that fears going into that quiet mind, because when you go into that quiet mind, which is hit right here, right now, the person around the soap opera has to disappear. So it's the fear of disappearing.
It's the death of the ego, isn't it, as well?
I've just had deja vu.
Have you?
Really strong, yeah. So we've obviously done this before.
Many times.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know that you hold meditation classes and you do retreats as well. I mean, the people that come and see you, is there like a general kind of theme of people, a trend, the reason behind their coming to you, to your retreats and your classes?
I suppose people want to be happy and peaceful.
Yeah.
That's a general trend. People are stressed. They're looking for a different way of solving their problems. And often they've tried. They've tried the normal ways. And sometimes people even successfully have accomplished many things. But still, there's something missing.
Yeah.
I often joke with people when they come and say, it's very rare for someone to come and say, Adam, I'm looking for a way to benefit people and to save the world. Like in an altruist, it's very rare for someone to come to a meditation class saying, please teach me how I can benefit others more. They're usually coming because of something to do with themselves. Step one. It's like they've tried everything, it doesn't work, maybe I'll give meditation a go.
Right, so it's like a last resort.
Exactly. And then they start to see, the way to help myself is to actually stop thinking about myself as much and start moving my attention into the community and to become community focused. Of course, initially you need to stabilize oneself, but then ideally, as soon as possible, to start thinking, what can I do to help others? Like maybe I'll do some volunteering. Maybe I'll look at just a way to step outside yourself. Because I saw when I was living in the Buddhist center, so many times people coming on what they call a working visit. And they would come on a Friday with all these problems. They'd be sitting in the lounge talking about their difficulties at home with their partner, with their job, with their health, and it's all about me, my drama. And then a week of digging a hole or painting a wall or chopping potatoes, just simple manual tasks, not for themselves, but for the benefit of the community, transformation.
Yes.
And I saw that time and time again.
Yeah. So why do you think that is? What's the real reason behind that? What do you think's happening to them in that period of time?
They're tapping into the fact that we're not the center of the universe.
Yes.
Everyone thinks they are, but so who's right?
Yeah.
And as soon as we realize like the universe doesn't spin around this I, this self, we start to shift into how things actually exist. Which is that, we're not the center of the universe, and our happiness comes from looking at how we can benefit others and how we can have a community-focused mind instead of a self-focused mind.
Something that really interests me with that is finding the balance between, because I read a book recently by Gabor Mate.
Okay.
Have you heard of Gabor Mate? No, it's When the Body Says No. He's a GP, but now and he's talking about a lot of autoimmune disease that are very prevalent in people who are what we would call people pleasers. So people who dedicate themselves to others, but don't look after themselves. It's that balance, isn't it? It's coming into the self first and finding that balance and then pushing almost that light that you find within yourself out into the community.
You've touched on an important point because it comes up again and again in the classes. And, what I'm talking about being community minded, and immediately I know the red flags that come up in people's minds. And this is why I've said it here. I can see the red flags come up because you have to help yourself first. And often people come because they're burnt out because they've tried to help people.
Yes. Yeah.
But what I'm talking about here from the point of being community focused isn't running around people pleasing. It's being community focused mentally.
Yeah.
You can be community focused meditating.
Yeah.
If you understand that really the most powerful action is not physical or verbal, it's mental. So this is quite an important point, because the people pleasing and the burning out from the people pleasing can often be self-focused. But I'm talking about a state of mind that is moving away from the self. It's not abandoning the self. It's just moving into a more open, spacious mental framework.
Yeah.
Because when you meditate, like when you sit down and meditate, for most people they're sitting and meditating, there's all these thoughts. They say, oh, I've got so many thoughts. This is why they say it's hard. I've got so many thoughts. And those thoughts, who are they to do with?
Yeah.
But if we meditate with a community focus, thinking I'm sitting down to meditate to benefit others, and I just happen to be part of others now, I'm included, but I'm not the center of that. I'm meditating to benefit everybody.
Because we're all connected.
Because we're all connected, exactly.
We are, yeah.
And the more we want to help people, the more we will look after ourselves. Because if we don't look after ourselves, we won't be able to help anybody. So when people burn out, when we burn out often, we're harming ourselves, but also we're harming others because we can't help anybody. So it's more it's the mental state that's important. From this perspective, you can meditate, and it's almost like you don't have to heal yourself to then, you don't have to heal yourself first to then be able to help others. It can happen simultaneously.
Yes.
This is what I've seen again and again with people. You know, the best way to help yourself is to consider, like life decisions, what can I do with my life to help the community? You know, like, and then your mind is naturally more expansive.
Yeah.
I love that.
I often hear that a lot. How can I be of a service to others?
Yeah.
And that really changes the energy and the frequency
Exactly.
of your thoughts and your emotional state.
Yeah.
So that is it's a really powerful question, isn't it, as well?
Exactly, yeah. And
Yeah.
it gives you confidence and positivity. And just with the thought, like as we're sitting here now, you know, if we're thinking, may this benefit the community, it's very different than thinking, oh, may this benefit me.
Yeah.
It's so different.
Yeah. And that is thinking is karma.
Yeah.
You know, you create karma with your thoughts.
And when you're talking about thoughts and it being mental, you're talking about energy. Then is it the mental part, the energy that you're generating?
Yeah.
I remember one of the first Buddhist meditations that I did was the one about love, where we send love to ourselves and then people close to us. Yeah. And I never forget the feeling that I had when you go through different state, you know, to the person in the supermarket who you know but don't know, you know, who you see, and then the people that have hurt you.
Oh, yes, they're there.
And you're bringing in the people that have hurt you and how it was received in my body for the first time is really telling.
It is.
Really telling.
I think one of the things with the Buddhist meditation is it can go quite deep. And some of the meditations that they introduce with, like, for example, loving kindness, like you're talking about, on the surface, it looks really gentle and flowery, but if it's approached unskillfully, and that's also by the teacher, if it's presented unskillfully without prior preparation, it can backfire. Because what you're saying there, you know, when you're sort of sending loving kindness out to people who've harmed you, if you're not ready for that, you know, you're going to turn away from it. And I've seen this happen to people. So as much as I'm talking about being community focused and community minded, there has to be some kind of healing going on within oneself and some stability of mind, you know, within oneself. Never mind like saving the world. But, you know, you're asking why people came to the classes. And I was saying, generally people don't come with that mindset initially, oh, how can I help others? But eventually they start to generate that, realizing that's the way to help themselves. But for most of us, our heads are just above water and we're looking for ways to help, you know, to get our mind on an even keel and to stabilize our mind. Yeah. So the stages of the path to enlightenment, or Lamrim, which are the condensation of all the meditations. You've got the initial meditations, which are focused on the self, stabilizing the mind, encourage oneself to be good. You know, this is as in create good karma with your body, do good things with your body, say nice things to people with your speech, don't say hurtful speech, and to try to think positive thoughts. Initially, for yourself. You know, not for anybody else.
Yeah.
For yourself. Because if you start doing positive things like that with your body, speech, and mind, which is all you can do, we've got our body, we've got our speech and mind. If you just gentle, positive thoughts, you start to feel happier. You know, and when you feel yourself about to say something negative, you try to stop, because it's not only going to hurt the person you're talking to, it's going to hurt you. That's the basic foundation. You know, and then gradually then developing a wish to attain liberation or nirvana, wanting to take the journey to nirvana, you know, an inner pathway for yourself. I want to attain nirvana because I want to be peaceful and happy forever. I want to be done with suffering forever. These are the first steps before developing loving kindness. And once you've stabilized all of that, then you're in a position to then generating all these minds and then being able to forgive those who've harmed you and so forth, because you understand karma. which is earlier on down the line. But when someone drops into a meditation class and they've missed all of that, and the meditation class is something like meditations on loving kindness, and the teacher's there saying, oh yeah, with a big smile on their face, you need to love the people who've harmed you and hurt you. People get upset. They're sitting there, maybe they're sort of, but inside, because it hasn't been presented skillfully. That's the reason why. I mean, eventually we're ready to do that, but not necessarily straight away. Because especially in the West now, or even in just the modern world, karma, it's an idea that we feel is unfair. Thinking that, I created, I'm responsible for all of this. It takes a lot of mental strength to open up to the fact that I'm responsible for everything that's happened to me. That
it does, doesn't it? And I always think that that's the pivotal point of self-healing, when you accept that you're responsible for yourself.
That's really hard for people. When you say that to somebody, their energy change. What do you mean? It wasn't my fault.
So this is why, I mean, as a teacher, I don't really say that to people.
No.
I say it to myself. This is the job of the teacher, really, not to tell people that they're responsible for everything they're experiencing, but to tell myself that, if that makes sense. I need to keep telling myself, this is my karma. And then ideally showing the example to others of understanding that, and then maybe they can understand it. They say, don't they, the best teaching is from showing the example. Because it's not, because of our egos are so big now. We
were having an ego conversation in the car on
Who's
the way
got the
here,
biggest ego?
Yes, I know.
The job of the teacher in the modern world is not to challenge the ego head on. Like in the glory days of spiritual life, you can read life stories of a teacher and disciple where spiritual guides would challenge their disciples. Like Milarepa if your listeners ever have the chance to read about him, Milarepa and his teacher Marpa, for example, and he would directly challenge him head on, because Milarepa was ready. He was ready to take it on. He would absorb it like nectar, because he realized this is what he needed. Ideally, we find a teacher who we kind of allow to challenge us now, but those days are they've almost disappeared. So the teacher has to be more skillful. Because the thing is now, if you have a spiritual teacher and then he or she starts challenging you, we'll run a mile.
Absolutely.
We're out of here. We'll find another teacher.
Yes. Yeah.
Because we'll read another book. So the teacher now has to be more skillful. And this is good for the teacher as well. The teacher ideally is the student. They're just seeing themselves, I'm a student. I'm not actually a teacher. I just happen to be passing on what I'm studying as part of my studies. So the humility is coming from not thinking that you can, that you've got the answers. And the teaching ideally is from your understanding of the practices as opposed to the...
So, sorry, I'm processing this. So as a teacher, rather than, I hear what you're saying about not challenging somebody head on, and I know I've experienced that with therapists and teachers, and understandably somebody would get defensive. So when you say that you have a different, it has to be approached skillfully, are you saying just by you using your energy and your frequency of your teachings for them to help shift their consciousness? Am I making sense?
You are, yeah. I think really just practicing, I'm talking, 'cause this came up around karma. So, for example, if someone, let's say a student comes to me and says, oh, I'm really sick. I say, oh, it's your karma. You deserve that because you created the cause for it. Not helpful.
No.
Yeah. And, I remember living in the Buddhist center. They were continuously saying, oh, it's your karma. It's your karma. Which, if you're living with a bunch of Buddhists, it's okay.
Yeah.
Because they're your friends.
Yeah.
And you all kind of, oh, yeah, oh, it's my karma. Yeah. Oh, it's your karma. Oh, it's your karma.
Yeah.
Buddhist banter.
Yeah.
Buddhist banter, yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay. But when you're sort of out on the front line, outside Buddhist centers, people just want to feel loved.
Yeah.
If someone comes to you and says, I'm sick, and and you show them compassion and then hopefully gradually over time, they'll start to, when their mind is more peaceful and happy, maybe they'll start to consider, maybe I have created these conditions for myself.
So you're using your energy and really for them to feel, for them to kind of shift?
I think so. And I think, but it's not like a deliberate thing. I think from the perspective of a teacher, if you're a student, you maintain the student mentality.
Yeah.
And you're just simply trying to practice. And there may be other students coming to hear what you've got to say. But the more you practice, and this is what I was talking about the ocean, because it's so deep, the more you practice, the more hopefully you'll then have the karma of students practicing, because everything is karma.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to help people, and let's say I'm trying to help people and I'm not practicing it myself, they're not going to practice it.
Of course.
Yeah.
And they may go on to teach other people and they won't practice it. Whereas because that's the karma, I'm attracting people who aren't going to practice it because I'm not. But then if I start practicing it, even just a little drop of it, then that will then attract people who practice it.
The ripple effect.
It is the ripple effect. It makes complete sense because you're using the word karma, and for us, it's energy. It's the same thing. It's it's what you perceive, you receive, and therefore it makes be good. Makes so much sense. Makes so much sense. What's layered underneath that is huge. It's immense.
Exactly, yeah.
Immense.
Yeah.
So do we bring karma in from previous lifetimes?
I believe so, yeah. Yeah. We, because we were born, and how did we end up being born? Because birth is a functioning thing. Birth is the cause of death. Yeah?
Yeah.
But it's also the effect of death. Death creates birth. Birth creates death.
Yeah.
Things don't just come out of nowhere. Nothing comes from nowhere. There's cause and effect. So birth is a functioning thing. So prior to birth, where were we?
Yeah.
And what do we go back to eventually?
I don't believe we go back to anything.
No, it's just a constant cycle.
Well, we die.
Death and rebirth.
Not necessarily. And this is the point, of nirvana.
Yeah.
Ideally, if we don't do anything about our mind and we just carry on as normal, reacting, responding, immersed in the material world, when we die, that will just happen again. But if we try to get to the root of the problem and develop the wish to attain nirvana and cut the root of the cycle, when we die, we can stop an uncontrolled birth. We can release ourselves. We can release ourselves from all the suffering. And it's called nirvana, and you can develop insights into it. And I think people do. When they're meditating, you get a release. You get a release from the grasping. The sort of this it's almost as continuous as the heart beating. You know, this underlying nervousness, and, you know, this kind of continuous. But sometimes you get a release from it. That's like a taste of it. But we can have that permanently. We don't have to keep going. We don't have to keep suffering.
No.
If we work out where our suffering is coming from, and our suffering is not coming from our government, our partner, our parents, our bank, our health, it's coming from our mind.
Absolutely.
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, it's coming from our mind.
And it's a long journey to for me, I don't know about you, Kerry, but it's a long journey. It's been a long journey to actually accept that, you know, to have realised that at age 18 is quite profound.
Well, I didn't realise it. I just had the good fortune to come across some teachers. But I think for me, there had to be the Buddhist element to it. There had to, like, I wasn't just wanting to meditate. You know, like with meditation, you can reduce stress, you can reduce anxiety, but there's not a deeper answer. Why am I suffering? I'm going to get old. I'm getting old. Yeah. I'm going to get sick, and then I'm going to die. How can I stop that? And if you ask someone those questions, what's their answer? You ask your parents those questions, your school teachers, how can I stop getting old, sick, and dying? No one's got an answer.
No, they'd say you can't.
Exactly. Or they'd laugh nervously and change the subject.
Yeah.
Oh, don't be so morbid. Don't talk about sickness, aging, and death. But why not? I want to talk about them. And the great thing within the Buddhist tradition is it's out in the open.
Yes.
The very first thing Buddha said was, you're suffering. It's like, oh, finally, someone's telling me. Instead of pretending that everything's fine and you'll be okay, he's saying, no, it's not. You're suffering. And guess what? It's going to get worse. And if you're ready to hear that, that is actually uplifting. Because finally someone's telling you the truth.
Yeah.
You know, not just making everything sound okay. And I think people are starting to appreciate hearing the truth.
Yes.
You know.
I do. And actually one of the questions that I wanted to ask you was, are you finding that people are becoming more aware and more open to meditation now? Do you think society is coming round to that way of thinking and practice?
I think from when I started teaching, you know, in the mid 90s, I was out there, and there's always been an interest. There's always been an interest. There's always a thirst, you know. There's always. So I think, I don't know if it's increased, but my observation is there's always been an interest in a better way.
I know you had mentioned that you'd recently been doing some mindfulness meditation with prison.
In prison.
In prison, yeah. Would you like to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I thought it would be an option to share some practices in the local prisons, especially because they've got time on their hands there to sit and reflect, and managed to have the opportunity to go into one of the local prisons and give an 8-week course. Just going in once a week for 8 weeks, going into the prisons and teaching them some basic meditation practices. And I find teaching in prisons, in a variety of different prisons, that it seems to work very well. It seems to work very well. There's a lot of they seem to have there's an openness to learning, and they've got the time in their rooms to sit and practice. And I find it quite inspiring as well to hear the feedback from them, you know. And so when I go into prisons, they choose to come to the sessions. So that's quite important. Tradition of meditation is that and this is where sometimes the meditation in schools thing went a bit pear-shaped. When you start to try and enforce, as crazy as it sounds, you start to try and enforce meditation upon people, it doesn't work. And even at the time of Buddha, he only taught people who wanted to hear. So we go into prisons and put a poster up saying, are you interested in learning about meditation? And then the prisoners, the men who are interested, will come along. And I find it quite inspiring as well, because we're all in prison, you know, and I have some inspirational conversations with them, because they're forced into, they're almost forced into looking within. Like for us, and this is some of the conversations I have with them about meditation and the spiritual path, we're in a sense at a disadvantage outside prison. We think we've got all this freedom, but what freedom do we have? We tend to have the freedom of distraction. You know, we're free to be distracted. And unfortunately, distraction it's like a cheap thrill. And it's quite interesting, like the happiest people I've ever met have spent most of their life in retreat, where they've self-imposed restrictions on themselves. And it almost looks as though they're in prison on the outside.
It's discipline, isn't it? It's discipline.
Yeah.
And that's
when you go on retreat, it's so you put up these boundaries, which externally looks like prison. And you put up those boundaries so you don't get distracted. So for a prisoner who's in the right space, they have the perfect, not quite perfect, but they have pretty good conditions for meditation. And a prisoner actually, you know, I'm not just making this up, because I was unsure about how it would work when I first went into a prison. I mean, I was nervous, I was unsure. And then a few weeks later, a prisoner came to me and said, you know, I read the book, I've put this into practice, it's transformed me. And now I'm passing it on to other friends in the drug rehabilitation unit, these meditations. And he said he's got to the point now his parents are ringing him. And they said, oh, we're so worried about you. We're so concerned about you. And he said, I'm good. Like, I'm really good. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Sorry. So is you using meditation to help with addictions? Do you think meditation
well, it can
help with addictions?
I definitely believe it can. And one of the units that I went into in the prison, it was the drug rehabilitation unit. So they were in there as a way to come off some addiction. And that was part of the program. And yeah, it definitely can help. You know, definitely if you've got the connection with meditation and it resonates, it can definitely provide an alternative. It all depends on the individual.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's potent, powerful stuff. If you've got the karma and you're in the right space, like this one guy had, you know, he's one of thousands of prisoners. That's one story, but that's inspirational to hear that.
Yes.
Because it was almost like he was saying exactly what I was thinking about the retreat. He was sort of, you go into retreat to reduce distractions. He's in prison, and somehow he's developed this positive state of mind to literally transform his entire experience in prison and into his spiritual path. So he potentially comes out of prison much better off spiritually.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And then you've got the ripple effect as well, which is what it's all about, isn't it? That's you know, it moving and helping with the consciousness of humanity, which is always in the back of my mind. You know, what can we do to help that?
Escaping, I think it's inspirational, because whether you're in a suburb, you're in an apartment block, you're in a life that you want to be free from, you want to get out, you know, but you're kind of inwardly, you don't know what to do. And I think a lot of people are like that, and they're not necessarily brave enough to say. They put on the front, everything's fine, everything's wonderful, but inside they want to get out, they want to escape, and this is why we drink. You know, this is why we always are thinking about holidays to look forward to.
Or eat cake.
Can't beat a bit of cake. But these.
Yeah.
And I got it myself interested because I went back to the suburb I grew up in, and recently, and I was thinking, when I was living here, I wanted to get out, and I went to Nepal because I was trying to escape. But I went back thinking, but really, the way out is in.
Yes.
Oh, that was from both of us then, wasn't it? That was a yes. It's that's a bang on the table moment, I think.
Yeah.
But
It really is.
Before we finish, if for anyone that's listening out there who wants to start meditation, what can they just simply start with to get into meditation?
As in, are we talking?
So if people are out there thinking, I'd really like to start meditation, what little tips could they start with? How long for? What could they do just to kind of?
That's a really good question. Yeah.
Mind space.
Well, you can. The great thing about meditation, because you know what it's like when you're wanting to start something new. You go to a shop. And the next thing you know, you've got this list of things you need to buy. And you just think, you just want to make it simple. So I would say, sit down somewhere quietly, just for a few minutes, settle down, try to put your phone down, and just sit and watch your mind. That's it. Just close your eyes and just watch your thoughts.
Be an observer of your own thoughts.
I'd say that's a really good meditation for a beginner. Because one of the things about going straight to the breath is that we can get all complex. How do I breathe? And then if you're very nervous, it can actually make you more agitated. So I'd say just sitting and observing, like listening, just being aware of what's around you, and just not doing anything for a while.
It's being present. Wow.
It's being present for a few minutes. You can do that anywhere, anytime.
Yeah. I'm ready to go now.
Dentist reception room, in the hospital, anywhere. It doesn't matter, and it's really helpful in those moments.
Wow.
And you start to realize those moments start to become more meaningful than the moments where you're running to the next thing. It's like you start to shift. So I think initially what we do is we get meditation, we try and squeeze it into our life. I'll just fit it in here. And I'll carry on being busy and hectic, and I'll rush to my meditation class.
Yes, yeah. You're right. You're completely right.
Yeah, but I'm going to carry on.
Yeah.
But gradually, if you ask for it, if you put it out there, if you ask for it, you think, I need opportunities every day to stop. And where are those opportunities going to come? Because I'm not going to give myself them. Because I'm going to keep,
Yeah.
So they'll come in queues. They'll come when you're behind someone who's slow in the supermarket.
Yeah.
When
exactly.
when you're on a phone, being put through these situations which previously made us angry, they're the gifts.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's almost like the anger means we don't realize this is the actual gift. It's not the thing you're wanting to get as a consequence. We need, these are the windows into our spiritual path. And when we start seeing them, they'll appear everywhere. Until eventually we move our entire life around. So our busy life squeezes in to our spiritual path.
Wow.
I have just loved. I've not finished talking to you yet.
Keep going. I told you this, didn't I?
Yeah. I mean,
I
you've got to come back and talk to us, because
absolutely.
I feel like in fact, I was quite upset when Cole come out to say, that's it. Because it's just, I feel like we've just touched the tip of the iceberg.
Well, it's always good to.
Yeah.
Where can people find you? If people are listening and they feel really drawn to you, because you have Yeah, tell us about where people can find you. Obviously, we'll put the information
As in, what are we talking?
to come and connect with you if they want to come on one of your retreats or your
they
classes.
Can go to mindspace.org.uk.
Mindspace.org.uk.
Don't forget the UK at the end.
Yes.
Mindspace. And also you mentioned a book.
Yep, there's a book as well.
Yes.
A few books.
What's the book that you were talking about?
Oh, the book in. Yes.
Yeah.
The book in prisons. We're donating books to prisons.
Yeah.
It's called Guide to the Mindful Way of Life. And the reason behind that, the donation of the books to the prisons, is because one of the difficulties for prisoners is how do they guide themselves through meditations, because they don't have access to the internet, they don't have CD players, they don't have tape,
Yeah.
So the Guide to the Mindful Way of Life was written so they could guide themselves.
Oh. That's,
So really that's all they've got, the book. So Guide to the Mindful Way of Life, it's a step-by-step instruction on moving into the mindful way of life.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm so incredibly grateful. I've learned so much just talking to you for this.
Very inspiring.
Yeah, very inspiring. And I do hope that you will come back.
Anytime.
And I would love to come to your classes.
Most welcome. Starting in September.
Yes. Then I would love to. Where are you based? Where are the classes?
We've got, starting week beginning September the 22nd, but it goes throughout the year. We've got Wolverhampton, Sutton Coldfield, Harborne, Solihull, and then there's retreats. So the Cannock Chase, Malvern, Warwick, London, and Thailand.
I think I'll go for the Thailand option.
Yeah, fabulous.
You fancy 5 or 6 days over in Thailand?
Yeah.
Bring the microphones, bring the boys.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do this on the, on the beach.
Yes.
Sounds good.
But,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you so
you.
much.
Thank you
Take
so
care.
much. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. I'm feeling very zen right now. My question to you is, where are you not connecting to yourself? Where are you constantly looking outwards for answers when really we need to be looking within? If listening to this absolute fabulous wisdom has really touched you, we'd really love to hear from you. Please do comment below. We do read your comments and we do reply to them. So we'd really love to hear from you. And please subscribe to our channel because we'd really love to grow our Shifters community.